Hello. I'm going to be honoring ancestors through a series of photographs, and I have been thinking about this project for a long time. So I want to tell you where that passion stems from. My father gave me a lot of pride about my ancestors on both sides. He would tell me these very romantic, fantastical stories that just reeled me right in and gave me a lot of pride, and it was very grounding and strengthening. And I think that's very important. And I also know that not everybody gets that. When you have knowledge of your ancestors, it's very grounding, and it gives you information about your lineage and therefore yourself. So I'm going to tell you a little story about knowing all about my ancestors and how important that is. So I'm going to tell you a little secret, but you have to promise not to tell anyone. My best kept secret is that I'm really just a geek that was smart enough to become cool. My brothers used to tease me, and they would say that, I figured it out. And they would say, Miko, you were the coolest of the cool. I don't know about all that, but I did figure it out. This little story is about the me that I was before I figured it out. So when I was a geek, let's see, it was middle school, and I used to have this poker straight hair, and it was long. Well, when I went through puberty, it decided to do this crazy thing, and it just went and it was just too heavy. It was too much. So I cut it, but I had absolutely no idea how to work with it. So I had this just crazy hair. I have a colic, and it was always a mess. So my hair was a mess. I wear contacts, but back then I had glasses, and I had these big, thick, plastic, geeky glasses that I would know how to make cool now, but I definitely did not know how to do that back then. And my two front teeth were split, and I looked like a beaver. So I had to wear a retainer, and that got all fixed up. So imagine all of that. And then I grew up in a little tiny town in Michigan. So Michigan is shaped like a mitten, and we lived right here. So when you're from Michigan, people will hold up their hands and they'll say, here, here, here. Well, we lived right here. It was on the St. Clair River. It was this pristine, beautiful little town. And there were wonderful, absolutely wonderful things about that whole scene. And there were some not so wonderful things about that whole scene, including the fact that we were the only mixed race people, period, that I ever knew about, like anywhere. So it makes you feel like a little bit of a freak. And there was nobody that I could relate to. There's nobody. I remember looking at my skin going, it's such a weird color compared to everybody else. Everybody was like day glow white. Because it's Michigan. Like, at least, in the South, there's the sun and you get a tan. Nobody gets a tan up there. So, every day at the bus stop, I would wait for the bus. And this boy, who was much, much taller than I am, I mean, I'm a tiny little thing, and this was middle school, so I was probably not even 5 feet tall at this point. He towered over me. He would just lash out at me and be verbally abusive every single day. This was after school. This was on the way home. And he would say horrible things about me and about my ethnicity. You effing, only he said the word, Jap, who the hell do you think you are? blah, 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 you don't belong here, you're disgusting, you're ugly. And of course I did feel ugly, and he was probably right about that at that point. So it was very diminishing, and it was horrific, and I didn't know how to handle it. So I just ignored it. I didn't know what else to do. I didn't have anybody to talk to in my home. I didn't have any teachers to reach out to. In fact, the bus driver watched this happen every single day and said zero, absolutely nothing. It was just something that was tolerated back then. So this went on for as long as I can remember. And then one day I felt this fire in my gut, and it just rose up, and there was this energy, and it just popped through me, and I just went off on him. And I said, you don't know who you are. I know who I am. I come from samurai lineage. My great-great-great-great-grandfather was a samurai, and D'Amelio was a knighted name. We were, that name was knighted, and it means of the best. Do you even know who you are? Do you even know where you come from? And I could tell by the look on his face that he had no idea. And so I went in for the kill. And then I swore, and I said, you don't effing know anything. You are nothing. You're a piece of shit. Don't ever speak to me again. And I watched him shrink energetically, and as I was saying this, I grew, and I felt 10 feet tall. And he just silently turned around and walked on the bus, and he never spoke to me again. So, knowing your heritage and your lineage is very important. I am going to be doing a series of photographs celebrating people's ancestry. And the next video, we are going to show you that. We have a beautiful woman that is going to be celebrating her ancestry, and we are going to start a series, and I hope that you are going to want to be involved. So stay tuned.